What if the only thing standing between you and the apocalypse was your cat? This is the story of a loyal feline who sacrificed everything to save her owner, but came back as a zombie. And now, her human will fight against the end of the world to bring her back to life. But what they uncover is far darker than anyone could imagine. A secret so dangerous that it could end what's left of humanity. Stay until the end, because this story is about survival, sacrifice, and a cat with more than just 9 lives. The sun was supposed to rise like any other day. But instead, the sky was painted in deep crimson. Sirens echoed through the city. Chaos wasn't coming. It had already arrived. Reports flooded in, people getting sick, turning violent, attacking everything in sight. The apocalypse wasn't a movie anymore. It was real. Inside a small apartment, Emily held her breath, clutching her phone, scrolling through endless feeds of terror. Her heart raced as helicopters flew overhead. Windows shattered in the distance. Screams echoed like ghostly wails, but amidst the fear, there was one thing that grounded her. Luna. Her gray tabby cat. Luna wasn't just a pet. She was family. A loyal companion who had been with Emily through breakups, job losses, and every bad day life threw at her. But today, none of that mattered. Today was about survival. A loud crash came from the hallway. Emily jumped. Her hands trembled as she locked the door, pushing the couch against it. Something or someone was trying to get in. Suddenly, a bloodied man broke through the side window, crawling over the shattered glass. His skin was pale, his eyes hollow. His mouth twisted into an inhuman snarl, a zombie. Emily froze, but Luna didn't. With a speed Emily had never seen, Luna leaped onto the man's face, claws digging deep, teeth sinking into flesh. The man staggered back, losing balance, crashing down as Luna tore at him with primal fury. Emily grabbed a kitchen knife, finished the job with trembling hands. Blood pooled on the floor. Her breathing was ragged, uneven, but they were safe for now. Or so she thought. Luna meowed softly, but her voice sounded wrong. Emily turned to her, noticing a bite mark on Luna's small body. Her heart shattered. Tears welled up. No. The infection. It didn't discriminate. Human or animal, it didn't care. Luna's body twitched. Her breathing grew shallow. Emily cradled her, sobbing, whispering, "Please, stay with me. Don't leave me." And then silence. But after a minute, Luna's eyes shot open, glassy, pale, her little body convulsed. And then, impossibly, she stood. Not alive, not dead. Luna had come back, but was wrong, very wrong. Emily's hands trembled as Luna stared at her, her head tilting unnaturally, her small jaw trembling. Her cat had lost one life, but had come back with something else. Something undead, and Emily knew she would fight against the apocalypse, against the world itself to save her, even if it meant bringing her back from death. Emily backed away slowly, her breath caught between a sob and a scream. Luna stood there, if stood was the right word, her little gray body trembling with jerky, unnatural movements. Her head tilted too far to the side, and her once bright green eyes were now glazed in a milky white mist. "Luna?" Emily whispered, her voice cracking. Luna let out a low guttural sound, a meow mixed with something broken, distorted. Her tiny teeth chattered as if struggling to remember how to be a cat. She stumbled forward, paws dragging unnaturally across the blood-soaked floor. Emily's instincts screamed at her to run, to hide, to get away from whatever this was. But another voice inside her, louder, fiercer, roared back. This was her Luna, her baby, her family. "Fight it," Emily whispered desperately. "Please fight it, you're stronger than this." Luna blinked slowly. For a brief second, her tail twitched like it always did when she was annoyed. A flash of recognition, maybe. But then, her little body lunged, teeth bared, not at Emily, but at the dead man's corpse still lying on the floor. Tearing into flesh, ripping chunks with violent, frenzied bites, Luna devoured the rotting remains. Emily turned away, gagging, unable to believe what she was witnessing. Her sweet, playful, couch-loving Luna was now something else entirely. She wiped her mouth, breathing heavily, her mind racing. "I can't let this happen, I won't." Rushing to her bookshelf, Emily pulled down every book on biology, medicine, and God help her, even old superstition guides. Her fingers trembled as she typed frantic searches on her cracked phone. Can zombies be cured? Animal infection reversal? How to save an infected pet? The internet was chaos. Forums filled with desperate people. Videos of horror. Government broadcasts telling people to stay inside. No help, no answers. Only more fear. Suddenly, a message popped up in one of the survivalist forums. Biotech Corp knew. They were testing animal-based vaccines before the outbreak. Check the abandoned lab on 12th Street. Her heart pounded. It was a lead, maybe the only one. She glanced back at Luna. The little zombie cat had curled up by the window, licking blood from her paws. As horrifying as she looked, she wasn't attacking Emily. Not yet. Tears welled up again. Hang on, baby. I swear I'll fix this. Emily packed a bag. Food, water, flashlight, first aid, and, without thinking twice, Luna's favorite toy, a little stuffed mouse. She slid a baseball bat into her backpack, then opened her front door to a world that no longer felt like her own. In the distance, the city burned, and by her side walked a zombie cat with 7 lives left. The city that Emily once knew was now unrecognizable. A wasteland of shattered glass, overturned cars, and fire. Sirens wailed in the distance, but they were drowned by something far worse. The guttural moans of the undead. She gripped her bat tighter, each step echoing louder than she wished. Her eyes scanned every corner, every shadow. Every sound felt like a threat. Her legs trembled, but her resolve didn't. Luna trotted beside her. Even zombified, there were moments, tiny flickers where her old self seemed to resurface. She rubbed against Emily's leg, tail flicking, before her body spasmed again, head twitching to the side, jaw clicking. It was as if Luna was fighting the infection, resisting it. We're almost there, girl, hold on, Emily whispered, more to herself than anyone else. She turned onto 12th Street. The Biotech Corporation's lab towered ahead, its sleek glass walls now cracked, covered in soot and grime. The place looked abandoned, or worse. But getting there wouldn't be easy. The street was filled with them, dozens of bodies shambling, dragging broken limbs, faces twisted in endless hunger. Their groans rose together in a horrible symphony of death. Emily's breath hitched. She ducked behind an overturned bus, peeking through a broken window. No way through, she muttered, mind racing. That's when she noticed it. An alleyway to the right, narrow and shadowed, partially blocked but passable. A risk, but the only one. Come on, Luna, she whispered. As they moved, a loud crash echoed. Someone else or something knocked over metal barrels nearby. The zombies snapped their heads toward the noise, groaning louder, stumbling toward the sound. It wasn't directed at her. Someone else was out there. She hesitated. Should she help? Check it out? Or stay focused on the lab? Her decision was made for her when Luna suddenly darted forward, her small zombified frame squeezing through a fence gap. Emily cursed under her breath and followed. Inside the alley, her heart sank. A man was cornered by 2 zombies swinging a rusted pipe wildly. His leg was bleeding badly. Without thinking, Emily lunged. The bat cracked against a skull, sending the first zombie crumbling. She pivoted, swung again, bone shattered, blood sprayed. Both undead hit the ground, unmoving. The man collapsed, panting. Thanks, I thought I was done. Emily helped him up. Can you walk? Barely. Name's Leo. He winced, gripping his leg. Didn't think anyone was still human out here. I'm looking for the biotech lab. Do you know if it's still intact? Leo's eyes widened. You're crazy, but yeah, I know a way in. Underground entrance, less guarded by them. Emily nodded, glancing at Luna, who sat nearby gnawing on a severed zombie finger like it was a chew toy. Then you're coming with me? Because now it wasn't just about saving Luna. It was about surviving together. Leo limped heavily, using his broken pipe as a makeshift cane while Emily supported him with one arm. Luna trotted slightly ahead, her glassy eyes scanning the darkness, her small head twitching every few steps. Despite her twisted undead form, she seemed to instinctively guide them. Whether it was the remains of her old instincts or something far stranger, Emily couldn't tell. The entrance to the underground wasn't what Emily expected. No high-tech door, no guarded checkpoint. Instead, Leo led her to a half-collapsed parking garage. Near the back, behind a rusted generator, was a maintenance hatch. The word "authorized personnel only" was barely visible under the grime and scratches. Leo knelt, grimacing. This leads to the old service tunnels. They connect directly to biotech's lower labs. Scientists used it as an emergency evacuation route. Or at least they planned to. Emily swallowed. Are there more down there? Oh yeah, Leo sighed. If we're lucky. Just rats. If we're not. His eyes drifted toward the distant sounds of hollow moans reverberating through the city. The hatch creaked open, releasing a foul wave of damp air mixed with something metallic. Blood, rust, and death. Emily clicked on her flashlight, its narrow beam cutting through the suffocating darkness. Metal steps led them down into the abyss. Each clang of their footsteps echoed endlessly, as if the tunnels themselves whispered warnings. Halfway down, Luna hissed, her tiny body arched, fur standing on end. Well, what was left of it. Emily swung her flashlight forward, heart pounding. A body. No. Bodies. Piled along the sides of the tunnel. Scientists, security guards, limbs twisted at unnatural angles, faces frozen in silent screams. Some were half-eaten, others, worse. Leo muttered, "Looks like whatever went down here, it was fast." Suddenly a screech pierced the air. Not a groan, not a moan, but something else. Something inhuman. From the shadows ahead, a shape lunged, faster than any zombie they'd seen. Pale skin stretched thin over bones, empty eye sockets, and jagged teeth. A crawler, not fully turned, but not alive. A mutation. Emily swung her bat, smashing it across the jaw, sending teeth scattering. But it wasn't enough. The thing skittered sideways, crawling along the wall like a spider, then leaped toward Leo. Before Emily could react, a blur shot past her. Luna. Her tiny zombie body collided with the crawler midair, sinking her teeth deep into its neck. The creature shrieked, flailing wildly as Luna tore and clawed with a ferocity that defied her size. The crawler hit the ground, twitching, then went still. Luna sitting triumphantly atop it, tail flicking as if daring anything else to try. Emily stared, wide-eyed. "You're still in there. Somewhere." Leo panted, leaning against the wall. "Your cat is terrifying." A metal door stood at the end of the tunnel, lights flickering weakly above it. Painted on the surface, barely visible beneath smears of blood, were the words, "Biotech Research Level 3 Experimental Lab." Emily tightened her grip on the bat. This is it. But whether salvation waited inside or something far worse, they were about to find out. Leo limped heavily, using his broken pipe as a makeshift cane while Emily supported him with one arm. Luna trotted slightly ahead, her glassy eyes scanning the darkness, her small head twitching every few steps. Despite her twisted undead form, she seemed to instinctively guide them. Whether it was the remains of her old instincts or something far stranger, Emily couldn't tell. The entrance to the underground wasn't what Emily expected. No high-tech door, no guarded checkpoint. Instead, Leo led her to a half-collapsed parking garage. Near the back, behind a rusted generator, was a maintenance hatch. The word "authorized personnel only" was barely visible under the grime and scratches. Leo knelt, grimacing. This leads to the old service tunnels. They connect directly to biotech's lower labs. Scientists used it as an emergency evacuation route. Or at least they planned to. Emily swallowed. Are there more down there? Oh yeah, Leo sighed. If we're lucky. Just rats. If we're not. His eyes drifted toward the distant sounds of hollow moans reverberating through the city. The hatch creaked open, releasing a foul wave of damp air mixed with something metallic. Blood, rust, and death. Emily clicked on her flashlight, its narrow beam cutting through the suffocating darkness. Metal steps led them down into the abyss. Each clang of their footsteps echoed endlessly, as if the tunnels themselves whispered warnings. Halfway down, Luna hissed, her tiny body arched, fur standing on end. Well, what was left of it. Emily swung her flashlight forward, heart pounding. A body. No. Bodies. Piled along the sides of the tunnel. Scientists, security guards, limbs twisted at unnatural angles, faces frozen in silent screams. Some were half-eaten, others worse. Leo muttered, "Looks like whatever went down here, it was fast." Suddenly a screech pierced the air. Not a groan, not a moan, but something else. Something inhuman. From the shadows ahead, a shape lunged, faster than any zombie they'd seen. Pale skin stretched thin over bones, empty eye sockets, and jagged teeth. A crawler, not fully turned, but not alive. A mutation. Emily swung her bat, smashing it across the jaw, sending teeth scattering. But it wasn't enough. The thing skittered sideways, crawling along the wall like a spider, then leaped toward Leo. Before Emily could react, a blur shot past her. Luna. Her tiny zombie body collided with the crawler midair, sinking her teeth deep into its neck. The creature shrieked, flailing wildly as Luna tore and clawed with a ferocity that defied her size. The crawler hit the ground, twitching, then went still. Luna sitting triumphantly atop it, tail flicking as if daring anything else to try. Emily stared, wide-eyed. "You're still in there. Somewhere." Leo panted, leaning against the wall. "Your cat is terrifying." Emily's fingers trembled as she reached for the door's keypad. The small screen flickered, barely alive, displaying the cold, mechanical words, "Enter code." Her stomach sank. Leo limped forward, wiping sweat from his brow. Wait, I think I remember. They used a failsafe. If the power was low, the code defaulted to the last emergency lock. I heard one of the guards yell it before." He trailed off, eyes dark. Luna paced back and forth, her tail flicking, her glassy eyes scanning the tunnel behind them as if she sensed they didn't have much time. Groans echoed faintly from where they had come. Something, or many things, were following. Leo gritted his teeth. "Try 0415. Emily punched it in. The keypad blinked red. Denied. No, wait, maybe 4510? Another beep, red light. Denied. A louder groan, closer this time, footsteps, dozens, dragging, stumbling, getting faster. "Leo?" Emily's voice was tight with panic. "Think!" Leo shouted, slamming his fist against his forehead. 044! It's their founding date, April 14th! Emily hit the keys, 0414. The light turned green. A loud hiss filled the air as the hydraulics unlocked. The door groaned open just enough for them to squeeze through. They fell inside, slamming the door behind them, locking it manually, just in time. On the other side, fists pounded, claws scratched, and mouths groaned, muffled by thick steel. Emily collapsed to her knees, catching her breath. Her flashlight flickered but held. The room smelled sterile, chemicals mixed with something sour. The walls were lined with shattered glass containers. Inside some, strange remains floated in greenish liquid. Half-formed creatures, spliced organs, and what looked horrifyingly like animal-human hybrids. Leo cursed under his breath. What the hell were they doing here? In the center of the lab stood a server terminal, its screen glowing weakly. Nearby, shelves were filled with vials, some shattered, others intact. Labels read, ZV-09 failed, ZV-10 host rejection, ZV-11 partial response, Z-12 animal host variant stable. Emily's eyes widened. This is it, look. She grabbed the vial marked ZV-12. It shimmered, a blue liquid inside. Her hands shook. An animal host variant. It's the only one marked stable. Suddenly, a low mechanical voice echoed through hidden speakers. Warning: intruders detected. Lockdown protocol initiated. Biohazard containment breach in progress. Doors on the far side of the lab hissed open. From the darkness emerged something. A massive figure stitched together from flesh and metal. Its arms were elongated with syringes for fingers. Its head was misshapen, one side cybernetic, the other grotesquely organic. Leo's face went pale. That's not a zombie, that's something worse. The creature let out a distorted roar, shaking the walls. Emily shoved the vial into her backpack, grabbed Luna, who hissed and clung to her shoulder, and shouted, "Run!" Because whatever biotech had created, it wasn't meant to live. The monster's roar shook the very foundation of the lab. Its mechanical limbs scraped against the floor, sending sparks flying. Tubes filled with glowing fluids pumped through its exposed veins, while a metallic spine jutted out from its back like a grotesque crown. "Move!" Emily screamed, yanking Leo by the arm as the beast charged. The creature slammed into a row of metal tables, sending them crashing into the walls. Glass shattered, alarms blared, red lights strobed wildly, making every movement feel like a nightmare in slow motion. Luna hissed, her tiny zombified body arched, claws out. She darted forward, sinking her teeth into one of the beast's mechanical legs. Sparks flew, but the monster barely reacted, kicking her aside. She tumbled, but landed on her feet, snarling. Emily gritted her teeth. "No, stay back, Luna." Leo stumbled toward a set of lockers along the side wall. "There, supplies." He flung one open, revealing emergency gear. Flares, fire extinguishers, a crowbar, and, thank God, a small shotgun with 2 shells left. "I hope you know how to use that," Emily shouted, diving as the monster swung a massive syringe-fingered arm at her. The tip buried itself into the floor where her head had been just a second earlier, cracking the tiles. Leo pumped the shotgun. "Point and pray, right?" He fired. Boom. The shot hit the beast's side. Metal shards flew, flesh tore, but it wasn't enough. The monster staggered, then let out an ear-splitting screech. Tubes on its back pulsed, injecting it with more of the glowing green fluid. It grew stronger, faster. "Emily!" Leo shouted, tossing her the crowbar. "Aim for the joints!" Emily dodged another swipe and drove the crowbar into one of the beast's knee sockets. The metal cracked, the joint buckled. The monster stumbled, slamming into the central server. Sparks exploded as the system fried. In the chaos, Luna leapt onto a nearby counter, knocking over a container marked Acid Hazard. The glass shattered, spilling corrosive liquid directly onto the creature's cybernetic leg. Steam hissed. The metal sizzled, melting. The monster shrieked, trying to shake the acid off, but its leg collapsed beneath it. "How?" Leo roared, firing the second shell directly into its exposed chest cavity. Bone, flesh, and wire exploded in a shower of gore and sparks. The creature let out one final gurgling scream, then slumped, twitching before going completely still. Only the sound of their ragged breathing and the distant pounding on the locked doors above remained. Emily collapsed against a cabinet, holding Luna close. The little cat licked her face, rough, cold, and wrong, but familiar. "You're still in there. I know you are," Emily whispered. Leo leaned against the wall, wiping blood from his forehead. "Remind me not to follow you into labs ever again." Emily laughed, shaky but real. Then she pulled the vial from her bag, the one marked ZV-12 Animal Host Variant, stable. Her hands trembled. This might be it. But then a sound behind them made both freeze. A slow mechanical click, followed by a voice soft and synthetic. "Secondary specimen containment compromised. Specimen 23 active." A heavy metal door slowly slid open, revealing something far worse. Perfeito. Seguindo com o capítulo 7 de The Cat Who Lost 7 Lives, the sound of the sliding door reverberated through the ruined lab. A hiss of pressurized gas escaped as cold, sterile air spilled from the chamber. Red warning lights strobed across the walls, painting everything in flashes of crimson and shadow. From the darkness beyond the door, something moved. Slow at first, then faster. Heavy footsteps echoed against the steel floors, wet, dragging, but with purpose. Leo raised the empty shotgun. "I'm out," he muttered, voice trembling. Emily gripped the crowbar tighter, backing away slowly. "Luna, stay close," she whispered. The little cat hopped onto her shoulder, her tiny claws digging into Emily's jacket, head twitching, eyes wide and glassy, but alert. A figure emerged, taller than a human, hunched, its body grotesquely elongated. Limbs stitched from multiple creatures, dog, human, and something unrecognizable, hung at impossible angles. Its skin was stretched thin, translucent in places, revealing pulsating veins of glowing green fluid. But its face was the worst. Multiple animal skulls fused together, a cat's jaw, a canine snout, and something serpentine winding along its scalp. Mechanical components jutted from its spine, with tubes pumping bioluminescent liquid into its chest. Its eyes, a single massive cyclopean orb, focused directly on Emily. A deep, distorted growl filled the room. layered with broken mechanical noises and a sickening wet gurgle. Specimen 23. What the hell were they making? Leo whispered. A sudden memory flickered in Emily's mind, an article she'd read before the world fell apart. Biotech had been experimenting with cross-species regenerative genes. They were testing how animals with multiple lives or regenerative abilities could be used to develop cures or weapons. And now this abomination stood proof of what happens when humans play God. Without warning, Specimen 23 lunged, a blur of flesh, claws, and metal. Emily dove, rolling beneath a shattered table. Leo staggered back, barely dodging as a massive claw swiped inches from his face, slicing clean through the steel locker behind him. Luna, despite her size, launched herself at the creature's face, claws slashing at exposed wires near its eye. Sparks flew. The beast roared, swinging its head wildly, slamming Luna into the wall. "No!" Emily screamed, scrambling to her feet. Luna dropped but shook it off, her undead resilience letting her stand, limping but alive, or whatever she was now. Leo grabbed a fire extinguisher from the floor and hurled it. It struck the creature's head with a loud clang, making it stumble. That won't hold it long. Emily's eyes darted to the server banks. Wires, circuits, power couplings, an idea sparked. "Leo, help me overload the power grid." He didn't hesitate. Together they ripped open a junction box, sparks sprang as they twisted wires bare. "When I say now, hit the breaker," Emily shouted. Specimen 23 charged, mouth open wide, revealing rows of metal-augmented teeth. "Now," Emily screamed. Leo yanked the lever. A surge of electricity exploded through the room. Arcs of lightning danced across the floor, crawling up metal beams and straight into the creature's cybernetic spine. The monster convulsed violently. Flesh blistered, metal warped. It let out an earth-shattering screech as its body caught fire, fluids igniting, circuits frying. And then, boom. Its chest exploded in a blast of fire and gore, sending both Emily and Leo flying backward. Smoke, ash, and the smell of burnt flesh. Leo groaned. "Is it dead?" Emily coughed, wiping blood from her lip. Her eyes scanned the wreckage. Among the ruins, a broken tag lay half buried in ash. "Project 9 lives, status failed." Emily tightened her grip on her backpack, feeling the vial inside. "No, we're not done yet." Because the real fight that was only just beginning. Smoke curled around the twisted remains of Specimen 23. Its body sizzled, sending thin trails of black vapor spiraling toward the cracked ceiling. Emily wiped soot from her face, coughing, her fingers instinctively gripping the vial nestled deep in her backpack, the one labeled ZV-12 Animal Host Variant, stable. Luna limped over, her small mangled body twitching, but her eyes, clouded pale, locked onto Emily's with something that felt present. A flicker of the old Luna. A heartbeat in the void. Leo leaned heavily against a shattered server, blood seeping from a fresh cut on his shoulder. We made it," he panted, scanning the ruined lab. "But now what?" Emily pulled the vial out, holding it up to the flickering emergency lights. The liquid inside shimmered a soft blue, swirling slowly as if alive. "This is it. This has to be it." Her voice trembled. "The only formula marked stable." Leo squinted. "Stable doesn't mean safe." "I know." She knelt beside Luna, her hands shaking. "But look at her. She's fighting it. She hasn't attacked me. Not fully. She's still in there." As if in response, Luna meowed, a broken rasping sound, but her tiny paw reached out, resting on Emily's knee. Tears burned Emily's eyes. "See, she remembers." Leo sighed, running a hand through his filthy hair. "We don't even know how to use that. Is it an injection? Oral? How much? What if it kills her?" Emily stared at the label. The tiny print beneath the name read, "Administer via subcutaneous injection. Dosage 0.5 ml per 2 kg subject mass. Warning, unstable in higher organisms." Her throat tightened. "It's designed for animals. They were experimenting with smaller hosts before moving to humans." Leo grimaced. "So it won't help me or anyone else." Emily nodded, then whispered, "But maybe it can help her." She rummaged through the medical kit they had found earlier, pulling out a syringe. Her hands trembled as she drew the glowing blue liquid into it. Each click of the plunger felt like a countdown. She cradled Luna in her lap. "It's okay, baby, just hold still." As the needle pierced Luna's skin, her tiny body convulsed, a strangled hiss escaping her throat. The liquid surged into her bloodstream, glowing faintly beneath her fur. At first, nothing. Then Luna let out a scream, not a meow, but a raw, animalistic screech. Her body jerked wildly, her limbs flailed, her eyes rolled back, showing nothing but pale whites. "Emily?" Leo started, stepping forward. "Stay back," she snapped, holding Luna tight as her body trembled violently. Foam gathered at Luna's mouth. Her breathing became ragged, erratic. Her skin pulsed as dark veins appeared, running along her neck, her legs, her tiny ribs. And then, silence. Luna went limp, completely still. No, Emily whispered, shaking her. "Please, don't do this. Stay with me, stay." A soft breath, then another. Luna's body twitched, but not like before. Slowly, her glassy eyes cleared. The milky film faded, revealing the vibrant green that Emily hadn't seen since before the infection. Her little paw stretched out, reaching for Emily's face. "Luna?" A soft, fragile meow, a real one. Tears streamed down Emily's cheeks as she clutched Luna against her chest. "You're back. Oh my God, you're back." Leo knelt beside her, smiling despite everything. "I'll be damned. It worked." But before they could celebrate, the lab's main alarm shifted tones. A new voice blared over the speakers. "Warning. Containment breach in Sector 4. Evacuation required. Self-destruct sequence initiated. T-minus 10 minutes. Emily's head snapped up, eyes wide. "You've got to be kidding me." Because now it wasn't about saving Luna anymore. It was about getting out alive. T-minus 10 minutes. The robotic voice echoed through the crumbling lab, bouncing off blood-stained walls and twisted metal. Red emergency lights pulsed in sync with the countdown, casting the room in rhythmic flashes of doom. Emily shoved the syringe back into her backpack, grabbed Luna, now breathing, now alive, and yanked Leo to his feet. "We've got to move. Now." Leo groaned, staggering as his injured leg buckled. "There's an exit, emergency tunnel, lower levels. I saw it on the schematics earlier, but it's a long shot." "Long shot beats staying here and turning into firewood," Emily snapped, already pulling him toward the back of the lab. Luna clung tightly to her shoulder, her little paws gripping fabric, her breathing still shallow but stable. Her glazed undead stare was gone, replaced by the wary, bright gaze of the cat Emily had known before this nightmare began. The floor rumbled beneath them. Steam hissed from broken pipes. Distant explosions rattled the foundations as the self-destruct process advanced. They sprinted through a shattered door into a hallway lined with broken observation windows. Behind the glass, failed experiments twitched, half-dead, half-mechanical horrors that were better left unseen. Minus 8 minutes. A screech echoed from ahead. Shapes stumbled into view. 3 zombies, still clad in lab coats, their faces torn, jaws unhinged. Their eyes locked onto Emily and Leo. Leo gritted his teeth, grabbed a metal pole from the floor and swung it into the first one's face. Bone cracked. Emily followed, slamming her crowbar into the second one's knee, sending it collapsing before crushing its skull. The third lunged at Leo, knocking him to the ground. The undead jaws snapped inches from his throat, until Luna, with a savage hiss, leapt from Emily's shoulder and sank her teeth into the zombie's eye socket. It screeched, flailing, giving Leo just enough time to grab a broken pipe and ram it through the creature's skull. Panting, Leo shoved the corpse off. "Remind me to buy your cat a lifetime supply of treat, if we live." Emily scooped Luna back up, pressing forward. "You bet you will." To -6 minutes. Ahead, a reinforced steel door stood slightly ajar. A flickering sign above read, "Emergency evacuation, lower levels." They slipped inside, descending a spiral staircase lit only by the dim red glow of emergency lights. The air grew heavier, filled with the stench of mold, metal, and death. Suddenly, the walls trembled. Pipes burst, sending scalding steam blasting across the corridor. Emily ducked, pulling Leo down as a section of the ceiling collapsed behind them, cutting off their path back. "No turning back now," Leo muttered. To -4 minutes. At the bottom of the stairs, the emergency tunnel stretched forward. Dark, narrow, claustrophobic. On the far end, a heavy hatch glowed green. Emergency exit. Surface access. Relief flooded Emily's chest. "That's it, we're almost there." Then a sound, a heavy dragging thud. followed by another. Then a low, gurgling growl. From the shadows behind them, something massive crawled into view. A grotesque mass of flesh, bone, and wires, stitched together from failed experiments, a writhing, half-melted monstrosity. Dozens of eyes blinked across its twisted body. Multiple jaws snapped open and shut, dripping black fluid. "Oh, come on," Leo shouted. "Is this lab just a spawning ground for nightmares?" The creature lunged. To -3 minutes. Emily gritted her teeth. "Leo, get to that hatch. Get Luna out. I'll hold it off." Leo's eyes widened. "No, not leaving you."
You have to.
"No," he growled. "We end this together." Because they hadn't come this far to die now. Perfeito. Seguindo com o capítulo 10 de The Cat Who Lost 7 Lives, the monstrous abomination dragged itself fully into the tunnel, blocking the path behind them. Its grotesque body pulsed with mechanical tubing, glowing with sickly green light. Bone protrusions jutted from every joint. Its misshapen head, 3 jaws fused together, opened wide in an ear-splitting roar that shook dust from the ceiling. T-2 minutes, 45 seconds. Emily tightened her grip on the crowbar, her knuckles white. "No choice, we fight." Leo scanned the walls desperately. Pipes, there, gas lines. A busted conduit ran along the ceiling, hissing as compressed gas vented through a crack. His eyes lit up. "If we can rupture it, ignite it." Emily nodded instantly, already moving. "You distract it, I'll make it boom." Leo limped forward, swinging his metal pole, shouting, "Hey, over here, meat grinder!" The creature responded, lunging, its claws screeching against the concrete as it narrowly missed, tearing him apart. Emily scrambled up onto a side panel, wrenching at the gas line with the crowbar. Sparks rained down as metal buckled. The pipe burst, releasing a deafening jet of pressurized gas that filled the corridor with a noxious hiss. "Do it, Em!" Leo shouted, dodging another swipe that sliced open the floor like paper. Emily yanked a flare from her backpack, thumb trembling as she struck it against the wall. The flame sputtered, then roared to life. She hesitated for just half a second, long enough to lock eyes with Leo. "Run!" she screamed, hurling the flare. The flame hit the gas. Boom. A fireball tore through the tunnel. The heat slammed Emily backward. The explosion engulfed the creature entirely, its scream drowned by the deafening roar of fire and shrapnel. Flesh melted, metal twisted, bones shattered as the tunnel lit up like the inside of a furnace. Concrete split. Support beams groaned. Leo grabbed Emily by the arm, half dragging her toward the hatch. "Go, go, go!" Luna, clinging tightly to Emily's shoulder, let out a terrified but very alive yowl. T-1 minute. The hatch was just ahead. Leo slammed his fist against the panel. "Come on!" The green light blinked. The locking mechanism groaned. For a breathless moment, nothing happened. Then, clank. The door released. Leo shoved it open. Cool night air blasted their faces, the first real fresh air they'd felt since entering the nightmare below. Behind them, the tunnel collapsed in a roaring cascade of fire, debris, and dust. They stumbled out onto a hilltop overlooking the ruins of the biotech facility. Smoke billowed into the sky, mixing with the already dark, apocalyptic clouds that hung over the shattered city. Boom! A final explosion rocked the earth as the entire underground lab detonated, sending a fireball into the sky. The shockwave knocked them flat. Silence followed, eerie, heavy. The only sound was the wind. Leo coughed, pushing himself up. Tell me we're done." Emily lay on her back, laughing breathlessly. Luna curled on her chest, her little body rising and falling in peaceful, rhythmic breaths. No more twitching, no more glassy, undead stare. Just life. "We're done," Emily said softly. "At least, with this part." She looked toward the burning city beyond. Fires still raged. The apocalypse wasn't over. Not yet. But for the first time, hope felt real. Because if she could save Luna from death itself, maybe, just maybe, there was a way to save the world. The glow of the burning lab faded into the horizon, swallowed by the smoke-choked sky. Emily sat on the grassy hill, arms wrapped tightly around Luna, her fingers trembling. But this time, not from fear. From relief. From something she hadn't felt since the world fell apart. Hope. Leo sat nearby, ripping a strip from his shirt to bandage his leg. His face was streaked with ash, blood, and exhaustion, but he smiled. Well, that's one nightmare down. Luna purred softly, her small body pressed into Emily's chest. Her breathing was steady. Her bright green eyes blinked slowly, her fur warm, not cold, not dead. She was alive. Emily stroked Luna's head, tears burning in her eyes. You did it, baby. You fought it. You came back. Leo leaned his head back, staring at the dark sky. I gotta admit, I didn't think it was possible. A cure, even if it's just for animals. He trailed off, glancing sideways. It means something. It means this thing can be reversed. Emily reached into her backpack, pulling out the vial's remains. Only a few drops of the blue liquid remained at the bottom. She shook it gently, watching it swirl. If we could make more, if the formula's intact, Leo sighed. That lab's a crater now. If there was more, it's gone. For a moment, silence settled over them. Only the distant crackle of fire and the hollow moans of the undead drifted from the ruined city below. Then Emily's eyes narrowed. Biotech had more than one facility. This was just the animal testing branch. She pulled her cracked phone from her pocket, praying. The screen was shattered but barely operational. Her fingers flew across it, pulling up a saved article, an investigative report she had read months before the outbreak. There, she whispered, turning the screen to Leo. Biotech's main research hub, 20 miles north, deep in the mountains, heavily fortified, underground. That's where they developed the human trials. Leo groaned. You're insane after what we just went through. You want to go there? Emily met his eyes, fierce and determined. We don't have a choice. If there's any chance of of reversing it, it's there. She glanced down at Luna, who blinked up at her, nuzzling her hand. We did the impossible once. We can do it again. Leo rubbed his face, chuckling despite the weight of the world. You've either got the guts of a lion or you've completely lost your mind. Probably both, Emily replied with a grin. A sudden growl echoed from the tree line. Both spun around, hearts leaping, shadows shifted. Figures stumbled out, zombies, half a dozen, broken, limping, but hungry. Emily jumped to her feet, clutching Luna. No rest for the wicked. Leo grabbed his metal pole, wincing. We move now. Together, they sprinted toward the forest edge, dodging trees, weaving between roots. The groans faded behind them, but the danger never did. As they ran, Emily glanced down at Luna, who clung tightly to her jacket, her little green eyes burning with determination. This wasn't over, not even close, but they had something stronger than fear now. They had purpose. The forest was a labyrinth of twisted roots, broken branches, and shadows that seemed to breathe. Every step was a gamble, whether it was a loose rock, a hidden hole, or something worse waiting in the undergrowth. Emily's boots crushed leaves and twigs as she pushed forward. Luna pressed tightly against her chest in a makeshift sling fashioned from her jacket. Leo limped beside her, his metal pole now serving more as a crutch than a weapon. The distant glow of the burning city was now just a memory behind them. Ahead, nothing but darkness. This trail should lead north, Emily muttered, scanning the path through flickering flashlight beams. If the maps are right, there's an old service road cutting through the forest. It'll take us halfway to the biotech headquarters. Leo grunted, assuming we don't get eaten first. A sudden snap of a branch to their right made both of them freeze. Emily swung the flashlight. Nothing. Just trees. Shadows. Empty. Or maybe not. Did you hear that? She whispered. Leo nodded. Yeah, too heavy for a deer, too quiet for a zombie. Luna's fur bristled. She let out a low growl. A real growl, not the hollow, broken sound from before. She clung tighter, ears pinned back, body trembling. Not from fear, but from alertness. Suddenly, a shape darted between the trees, fast, too fast. Not a zombie, Leo hissed. Something else. A deep rumbling snarl rolled through the air. Then they saw it. A creature stepped into the beam of light. Massive, four-legged. Its body was covered in patchy fur stretched over rotting flesh. Cybernetic implants jutted from its back and legs, hydraulic limbs replacing broken bones. Half its face was torn away, exposing sharp metallic teeth. One of its glowing yellow eyes was fully mechanical, scanning back and forth. A zombified predator, a wolf, enhanced, engineered. Emily's breath caught. Biotech didn't just test in labs, they tested on the wild. The wolf growled, lowering its head, muscles twitching under frayed skin. Its targeting laser flickered, locking onto them. Leo staggered back. "We can't outrun that." "No," Emily said, tightening her grip on the crowbar. "We don't run." The wolf lunged, a blur of teeth, metal, and fury. Emily sidestepped, swinging the crowbar into its flank. Metal clanged, sparks flew. The beast snarled, turning on her. Leo hurled a rock, hitting its mechanical eye. The wolf shrieked, stumbling. "Over here, you scrap heap!" But the distraction was brief. It lunged at him, jaws wide, until Luna leapt from Emily's arms with a furious screech, landing squarely on the wolf's face. Her claws tore into the exposed circuits, sparks flying. The wolf howled, thrashing wildly. Its head slammed into a tree, trying to dislodge Luna. Emily saw her chance. She sprinted forward, jamming the crowbar into a crack in the wolf's spine, right where flesh met machine. She pulled with everything she had. The hydraulic leg buckled. The wolf crashed to the ground, twitching, whining. A horrible mix of mechanical failure and dying creature. Leo staggered over, grabbing a sharp metal shard and driving it into the wolf's skull. The machine whined. The lights in its eye flickered, then died. Emily dropped to her knees, grabbing Luna, who trembled but was unharmed. "You crazy little warrior," she whispered, hugging her tight. Leo collapsed onto a fallen log, breathing hard. "So, yeah, forests are officially worse than cities now." Emily managed a shaky laugh. "Agreed." She glanced north where the mountains loomed dark against the horizon. Somewhere out there, Biotech's main facility waited, and so did the answers. Night had fully swallowed the forest, leaving only fragments of moonlight piercing through the dense canopy. The cool wind rustled the leaves, but beneath it, there were whispers. Not voices, not words, but something else. The unsettling kind of silence that feels watched. Emily adjusted the sling around her chest where Luna rested, her breathing steady but ears twitching with every distant sound. Leo limped beside her, flashlight flickering, barely holding its charge. "We need shelter," Emily murmured. "Can't risk moving blind." Leo nodded. There was an old ranger station marked on the map. Should be close if it's still standing. Minutes dragged like hours as they pushed through thickets, branches clawing at their clothes. Every crack of a twig made their hearts pound. Every shadow looked like something ready to pounce. Finally, through the trees, they spotted it. A crooked silhouette of a wooden cabin half swallowed by vines. The sign barely hanging from one rusted chain read, "Ranger Outpost, Station 5. Leo approached first, gripping his pipe. "Stay behind me." Emily followed, scanning the surroundings. The windows were broken, the front door hung off its hinges, but no movement, no smell of rot, no sounds of groaning. Inside, the place was a mess. Furniture overturned, papers scattered, bullet holes riddling the walls, but it was empty. At least for now. Leo slumped into an old chair, letting out a long sigh. "I don't care if this place is haunted, I'm sleeping." Emily placed Luna on a folded blanket, checking her over. Her little body was still frail, still recovering, but her fur was warmer, her breathing stronger. A soft, familiar purr rumbled from her chest. Emily smiled, brushing a hand over her tiny head. "We did it, girl, but it's not over yet," she whispered. A shelf nearby held a weathered map pinned under broken glass. Emily tugged it free, flattening it on the table. Her finger traced the lines leading north. Biotech's main facility, right here. A circle marked in faded red, buried deep in the mountain range. Leo leaned over, frowning. "That's at least another day's hike, maybe 2 with this leg." "We don't have 2 days." Emily's voice was firm. "If what they were doing in the labs was this bad, whatever's at the main facility is worse." A sudden clang echoed from outside, both froze. Leo grabbed his pipe. "Did you hear that?" Emily nodded, heart hammering. Slowly, she crept toward the window, flashlight off. Peeking through the cracked blinds, her breath caught. Shapes, 3 of them. Not zombies, not quite. Humanoid figures, tall, dressed in tattered black suits. Gas masks covered their faces, glowing green lenses scanning the dark. Their movements were precise, coordinated, military. One of them held a scanner, The device beeped rapidly as it swept the area. Another raised a long-barreled rifle with a cylindrical attachment. Suppressors, silent shots, killers who didn't want anyone to hear. Leo whispered, "Not infected, not survivors. Who the hell are they?" Emily's eyes darkened. Biotech's cleanup crew. The figure with the scanner spoke into a radio. Muffled but clear enough. "Confirmed anomaly. Genetic trace from Project 9 Lives detected. Orders?" A pause, then the response crackled back. "Capture alive, kill host if necessary." Leo's eyes widened. "They're talking about Luna, aren't they?" Emily's jaw clenched, adrenaline surging. "Yeah." Her grip tightened on the crowbar. "They're coming for her." The forest, once filled with groaning undead and lurking monsters, now held a new kind of predator. Men. Emily ducked beneath the broken window frame, her breath shallow, her heart hammering against her ribs. Leo pressed his back against the cabin wall, knuckles white around his metal pipe. Outside, the agents moved with military precision. Boots crunched softly over the forest floor. Their scanners beeped intermittently, pulsing faster whenever they swept toward the cabin. "They're locking onto Luna's DNA," Emily whispered, her voice tight with dread. "The cure, the mutation, whatever she is now, they want it." Leo gritted his teeth. "No way in hell we're handing her over." A sudden crackle of radio static broke the tension. "Perimeter secured, targets confirmed inside, ready for breach." Emily's blood ran cold. Her eyes darted to Luna, who lay curled in the sling, awake now, ears pinned back, eyes wide with fear. Her tiny body trembled, instinctively sensing the danger closing in. Leo hissed, "Back door, check it!" Emily sprinted to the rear, only to find a second pair of agents already flanking it, weapons raised. One aimed a scanner directly at the wall, as if seeing through it. "Back's covered," she whispered, grim. "Breach in 3. The voice outside boomed. Emily's mind raced. No escape, no time, only one option. She grabbed a smoke flare from a broken emergency kit on the wall, yanked the pin, and hurled it through the front window. 2. Thick, choking smoke exploded outward, swallowing the agent's line of sight. 1. Crash. The door exploded inward. Wood splintered. A blinding flashlight beam cut through the haze, but Emily was already moving. She swung the crowbar into the first figure's wrist, knocking his weapon aside. His suppressed rifle discharged, the bullet hitting the ceiling. Leo lunged from the side, smashing his pipe into the second agent's helmet. The visor cracked. The man staggered but didn't fall. He drove a knee into Leo's gut, sending him crashing into the table. The third agent flanked left, raising a stun baton. Emily barely dodged, the electric tip sizzling inches from her face. She countered with a savage kick to his knee, then swung the crowbar into his shoulder. Screams, chaos, smoke. Luna hissed wildly, scrambling from the sling onto Emily's shoulder, her claws digging deep but holding firm. An agent grabbed Emily's arm, twisting it. She bit down hard into his gloved wrist. He howled, stumbling back, just as Leo drove the broken end of his pipe into the man's leg, dropping him. "Out the window," Leo shouted. Emily didn't hesitate. She hurled the crowbar through the back window, shattering it, then dove through the frame. Glass sliced her arms and legs, but adrenaline drowned the pain. Leo followed, landing hard on his bad leg, groaning but moving. Behind them, the agents recovered quickly. Muffled voices barked orders. More flashes of green lasers cut through the smoke. "Target fleeing southbound, intercept, lethal force authorized." A gunshot cracked. A bullet whizzed past Emily's ear, slamming into a tree. Another shattered a branch inches from Leo's head. "Faster!" Emily gasped, pushing through the undergrowth. The forest blurred, branches whipping, roots catching their feet, but they didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Luna clung tightly, her small body vibrating with terror but alive. Somewhere in the darkness ahead, salvation or another nightmare waited. But one thing was certain, biotech wasn't done with them, and neither was the nightmare they'd unleashed. Branches tore at Emily's arms as she sprinted through the dense forest, lungs burning, legs screaming for relief. Behind her, the muffled shouts of biotech's agents echoed, followed by the sharp fut-fut of suppressed gunfire slicing through the night. Leo stumbled but forced himself forward, clutching his side. "We can't outrun them forever." Emily's eyes darted wildly, searching there. Up ahead, the trees broke into a rocky cliffside. Beyond that, a steep drop. They skidded to a halt at the edge. Below, a river snaked through jagged rocks, churning violently. The current was fast, brutal. A single misstep would shatter bones or worse. Leo swore under his breath, perfect, trapped. Luna trembled in Emily's arms, letting out a low, panicked meow. Emily held her close, stroking her head despite the chaos. It's okay, baby. I've got you. A shout came from behind. Targets in sight! Laser dots danced over their backs. We have to jump, Emily said, voice flat but resolute. Leo's eyes widened. Are you insane? That current will kill us. Staying here will definitely kill us. Emily glanced back, then tightened the sling holding Luna. We don't have time to debate. A bullet cracked past, striking the rock inches from Leo's head. The cliff trembled from the impact. Okay. Leo threw his hands up. We jump. Together, they sprinted to the edge. One final glance back. The masked figures closing in, rifles raised. And then they leapt. The world became a blur of air, gravity, and rushing water. Emily barely had time to gasp before the freezing river swallowed her whole. The current ripped at her body, tumbling her head over heels. Rocks scraped past, some too close. She fought to hold Luna against her chest, protecting her tiny form from the water's fury. Leo surfaced nearby, coughing, flailing, shouting something she couldn't hear over the roar of the rapids. A surge pulled Emily under. Darkness, cold. Her limbs flailed, panic rising, but she kicked, fought, broke the surface, gasping for air. The current threw them downstream, tossing them like rag dolls. And then mercifully a fallen tree, half submerged, offered salvation. Emily grabbed it, clawing her way onto the trunk, dragging Luna with her. Leo crashed against it seconds later, grabbing hold, coughing up water. For a moment, they just breathed, gasping, shivering, alive. The river carried them further before finally depositing them onto a muddy bank, far from where they'd jumped. Emily collapsed onto her back. Luna curled tightly against her chest, trembling but alive. Leo lay nearby, groaning, but grinning through the pain. Remind me, never, to follow you anywhere again. Emily coughed out a laugh, wiping water from her face. Deal. She sat up slowly, scanning the surroundings. No lasers, no shouting, no gunfire. For now, they were safe. In the distance, the dark silhouette of the mountain loomed larger than ever. The biotech headquarters waited, ominous, towering, and full of secrets. Emily glanced down at Luna, brushing soaked fur from her tiny eyes. Hang in there, girl, this isn't over yet. Because the fight wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about answers, and taking down the monster that had started it all. The muddy riverbank was eerily quiet. No gunshots, no distant groans, no footsteps crunching through leaves. Just the sound of the river fading behind them, and the relentless howl of the wind whispering through the mountain trees. Emily wrung the water from her jacket, teeth chattering, cradling Luna close to her chest. The little cat shivered but purred weakly, her bright green eyes flickering open. Alive, still fighting. Leo groaned, pushing himself upright. Tell me the plan's still not run until we die. Emily managed a tired smile. Not anymore. She pointed to the looming silhouette ahead. Biotech's main facility is close, real close. Look. Half shrouded in fog and darkness, a massive concrete wall rose from the mountain's base. Spotlights flickered along its perimeter, illuminating barbed wire, automated turrets, and a thick metal gate. Beyond the wall, angular buildings jutted from the rock like scars. Leo squinted. That thing's a fortress. Exactly, Emily said. And whatever started this apocalypse, it's in there. They crept forward, sticking to the tree line. As they got closer, motion detectors clicked softly from hidden posts. Cameras rotated slowly. The base was quiet, but very much alive. Emily pulled her cracked phone from her pocket. The GPS was barely functional, but a local map fragment loaded. There, she whispered, pointing. An old maintenance tunnel, abandoned according to the last blueprint I downloaded months ago. It cuts under the west wall. Leo frowned. You really downloaded the entire city's underground maps before the end of the world? She smirked. You never paid rent in this city without expecting a gas line to explode randomly. Came in handy more than once. Together, they followed a narrow ravine toward the mountain's base. Weeds and roots had overtaken most of the old service path, but soon they found it. A rusted steel hatch half buried beneath rocks and dirt. The faded label read, "Authorized access only, biohazard containment." Leo bent down, running his hands over the seal. Locked tight. Emily examined it, then smirked. Not for long. She grabbed a loose piece of rebar and wedged it into the hinges. On three. 3. They heaved. Metal groaned, rust flaking off in chunks. With a loud screech, the hatch popped open, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. A foul stench wafted up, mold, chemicals, and something metallic. Something like blood. Lovely, Leo muttered. Always wanted a tour of hell. Emily clicked her flashlight on, gripping the crowbar with her free hand. Let's finish this. Luna clung tighter to her shoulder, letting out a low, rumbling growl. Not at Emily, but at whatever waited below. Her fur bristled, her tiny body trembled. Not with weakness, but with warning. Step by step they descended. The walls were lined with old pipes and flickering emergency lights. Faded warning signs peeled from the concrete. Genetic testing in progress. Biohazard level 5. Authorized personnel only. Far below, the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. What they saw froze them in place. Dozens of containment pods lined the walls, glass tanks filled with greenish liquid. Inside, things floated. Not animals, not people. Something in between, twisted, wrong. And at the center of the chamber in a glowing console, active, alive. Leo swallowed. Whatever they were doing here, it's still running. Emily tightened her grip on the crowbar, her voice a whisper filled with dread and determination. Then we shut it down. But in the shadows above, something stirred. Watching, waiting. The underground chamber pulsed with a sickly green glow, casting warped reflections on the glass pods that lined the walls. Inside each pod floated twisted creatures, half human, half something else. Some had extra limbs, others bore mechanical implants fused directly into bone. Some still moved, twitched, blinked. Leo scanned the room, gripping his pipe tighter. This isn't research, this is manufacturing. Emily stepped cautiously toward the central console. Its screens flickered with streams of data, DNA sequences, viral load readouts, regeneration logs. One word repeated at the top of the screen, over and over. Project 9 Lives, status active. Her stomach twisted. They didn't stop with Luna, this was just phase 1. She scrolled through files, test subjects, failures, mutations, but then Subject ZV01, origin sample, feline regenerative genome, status successful. Her hands trembled. Luna, you were the first. A soft meow rumbled from her shoulder, weak but defiant, as if Luna knew. Suddenly a voice echoed from the far end of the chamber. Smooth, cold, calculated. I was wondering when you'd get here. From the shadows stepped a tall figure, an older man, white lab coat pristine despite the apocalypse. His hair was silver, slicked back. His eyes, cold, gray, inhuman, glowed faintly with the same green light as the pods. Dr. Isaac Harrow. Emily recognized him instantly, the lead geneticist behind biotech's regenerative research, the man who had started it all. I must admit, Harrow continued, folding his hands behind his back, I didn't expect one of our prototypes to survive this long, especially not with a pet. His eyes flicked to Luna with a sneer. Remarkable. Emily leveled the crowbar at him. You're going to shut this down now. He chuckled. Shut it down? Oh no, you don't understand. This is salvation. You've seen what the virus does. Corruption, decay, mindless hunger. But with the regenerative genome, death becomes irrelevant. Leo spat. You turned the world into a graveyard to sell immortality. Harrow smiled thinly. A crude way of putting it, but accurate. He tapped a button on his wrist device. Behind him, mechanical arms sprang to life, lowering something massive from the ceiling. A containment pod. But this one wasn't like the others. It was twice as large. The creature inside was still growing. Flesh writhed over metal frames. Multiple limbs shifted, snapping into place. A massive feline skull, fused with cybernetic implants, glared through the liquid. Project 9 Lives' final evolution. Harrow's eyes gleamed. The perfect hybrid, adaptive, self-repairing, immortal. Thanks to her. He nodded toward Luna. The last pure sample. And now, I'll take it back. With a hiss, the pod opened. The creature, twice the size of any lion, stitched from predators, machines, and the regenerative strain, lunged forward, landing heavily on reinforced claws. Its eyes glowed an unnatural green, locked onto Emily. Harrow stepped back. Kill the humans, retrieve the specimen. The beast roared, a deafening sound that shook the entire chamber. Leo stumbled back. We are so screwed. Emily gritted her teeth, shielding Luna with her body. No, not yet, not while we're still breathing. The final fight had begun. The monstrous hybrid lunged, metal claws screeching against the concrete as it pounced. Its roar reverberated through the chamber like a sonic wave, shaking dust from the ceiling. Tubes pumped glowing green fluid through its semi-translucent veins. Flesh repaired itself in real time. Wounds sealed before they fully opened. Leo dove left, barely dodging a swipe that tore a crater into the floor where he'd just stood. It's healing faster than we can hurt it, he yelled. Emily rolled right, gripping the crowbar with white-knuckled hands. Nothing's invincible. We just haven't found its weakness yet. Harrow stood at the far end, fingers dancing over a holographic console. Fascinating, he muttered. The regenerative matrix exceeds even my models. His lips curved into a smile. Let's push it further. He tapped a button. A hiss, a surge. The creature's body convulsed as more green fluid pumped into its system. Mechanical joints locked tighter, muscles bulged. It grew. Leo, the tanks, Emily shouted, pointing. Rows of canisters lined the chamber walls, massive storage units filled with the regenerative serum. If we blow those, it'll flood the system, Leo finished, eyes wide. Overload it. The beast lunged again. Emily ducked under, slamming her crowbar into a joint behind its front leg. Sparks flew. The creature stumbled but recovered instantly, the wound closing before her feet even hit the ground. Leo sprinted to the tank, scanning wildly. There, a control valve. He yanked it open, releasing a high-pressure stream of the glowing liquid. Another tank, another valve. Harrow's voice rose in alarm. Stop, you don't know what you're doing. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, Leo snapped. If I can't kill it, I'll drown it in its own curse. The beast turned toward him, sensing the threat. Its eyes flared. It charged. Emily moved on instinct, diving forward, swinging her crowbar into a pile of support beams stacked against the wall. The metal tumbled, crashing directly into the beast's path, slowing it just long enough. Leo pulled the last valve, then yanked a sparking cable from the wall. Emily, now! Emily grabbed a loose oxygen tank, lit a flare from her backpack, one of the last, and shoved it into the gas valve. Catch, you bastard, she hurled it. The tank bounced once, then skidded directly under the beast's belly. Contact. The explosion ripped through the chamber. Fire engulfed the creature. The regenerative fluid ignited, creating chain reactions as each tank burst like a bomb. Harrow screamed as the consoles exploded around him. The beast convulsed, its healing factor going into overdrive, flesh melting, regrowing, melting again in an endless, agonizing loop. It staggered, howling, until finally its frame overloaded. Cybernetics sparked. Flesh split, bones shattered. With one final monstrous shriek, it collapsed. A pile of twisted metal, burned flesh, and shattered bone. Emily coughed, crawling over the debris. Luna, a soft meow answered. The little cat popped her head out from Emily's sling, singed but safe. She shook herself, sneezing twice, then curled into Emily's arms, exhausted. Leo staggered over, limping, one eye swelling shut. Tell me, and that's finally dead. Emily stared at the wreckage, then kicked a smoking cybernetic limb. Yeah, it's dead. But then a weak laugh. Harrow, pinned beneath a collapsed beam, blood leaking from his mouth, yet somehow still smiling. You think this ends it? The data's already transmitted. Copies. Backups. Everywhere. He coughed, spitting blood. This is only the beginning. Emily stepped forward, gripping her crowbar. Her eyes burned with rage. No, it ends now. Truly, silence. For the first time, the nightmare had stopped breathing. The fires spread quickly. Flames licked up the walls, feeding on old paper, dried wiring, and flammable chemicals that hadn't seen maintenance since the world fell apart. Smoke billowed toward the ceiling vents, turning the chamber into a choking, glowing inferno. Leo coughed, stumbling toward the nearest exit door. "We gotta go, this whole place is coming down." Emily scooped Luna into her sling, tightening the straps as she sprinted after him. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears, but it wasn't fear anymore. It was adrenaline. It was purpose. It was survival. The console nearest to them flickered, red warnings screaming across the broken screens. Containment failure. Emergency shutdown in progress. Self-destruct initiated. A klaxon blared. Mechanical voices echoed through every corridor. Facility collapse in T-5 minutes. Concrete groaned. Metal beams snapped. The entire mountain trembled as automated systems left unchecked tore themselves apart in a final catastrophic failure. Leo grabbed a shattered map off the wall. "This way, emergency escape shaft." They sprinted down a narrow hallway, ducking falling ceiling tiles and dodging bursts of steam from ruptured pipes. The walls cracked around them, dust falling like snow. At the end of the corridor, an elevator shaft. The doors were jammed open, the lift long gone, smashed at the bottom. But a maintenance ladder clung to one side, stretching up toward a distant point of light. Leo groaned. "Climb, of course." Emily grabbed the first rung. "Go, I've got Luna." Leo pulled himself up, wincing with every movement of his injured leg. Emily followed close behind, Luna tucked against her chest, her tiny claws gripping the sling fabric, eyes squeezed shut. The mountain trembled again. Below them, an explosion rocked the foundation. Fire surged up the shaft like a dragon's breath. "Faster!" Emily screamed, climbing as fast as her shaking arms could carry her. Leo reached the top first, an old hatch bolted shut. He slammed his pipe into it over and over until the rusted hinges snapped free. Light flooded in. The outside. Freedom. "Come on, come on!" Leo reached down, grabbing Emily's wrist. She hauled herself up, dragging Luna with her. The moment they cleared the hatch, a deafening roar blasted from below. The ground heaved. A shockwave threw them both forward as the entire biotech facility collapsed inward, imploding. Concrete folded, steel twisted. The earth swallowed it whole in a plume of fire, dust, and smoke. When the tremors faded, all that remained was a massive crater, glowing faintly from the fires still smoldering deep below. Emily lay on her back, staring at the gray sky. Her lungs burned, her arms ached, her whole body trembled, but she was smiling. Luna crawled up her chest, curling beneath her chin, letting out a soft, exhausted purr. Alive, real, free. Leo groaned, lying nearby, covered in dirt and blood. Is it over?" Emily turned her head toward him. "Yeah," she whispered. "It's over." But as she sat up, her eyes drifted toward the horizon, the ruined skyline of the city, distant fires still burning, the cries of the undead still echoing faintly in the wind. Her smile faded, because the facility was gone, the monster was dead. The man who started it all was Ash. But the virus was still out there, and the real fight, the fight for humanity, was only just beginning. The crater smoked behind them, a scar upon the earth where biotech's sins had been buried. The sky above remained heavy, stained in hues of gray and ash, as if the world itself wasn't sure whether to mourn or breathe again. Emily adjusted the sling holding Luna, who now slept peacefully against her chest. Her tiny breaths rose and fell, not ragged, not labored, alive, truly alive. Leo limped to her side, wiping dirt from his face. "You realize, we just destroyed the most secure biotech facility on the planet, with a crowbar, some pipes, and sheer stubbornness." Emily smirked, exhaustion tugging at the corners of her mouth. Never underestimate the power of a girl and her cat. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the wind carry the last of the smoke into the clouds. A strange, almost cruel kind of beauty hung in the air, because even in the aftermath of destruction, life insisted on continuing. But the silence didn't last. In the far distance, the city skyline loomed broken, bleeding, and restless. Fires flickered in the ruins. Sirens, long since meaningless, wailed faintly, and beneath it all, the groans. The endless hollow chorus of the infected. Leo sighed, staring toward the horizon. So, what now? Emily reached into her backpack, pulling out the half-scorched tablet she had snagged from the console before the final blast. Its screen flickered, barely functional, but the data was intact. Biotech's files, experiments, cures, failures, maps, names, coordinates. She showed it to Leo. This is what's next. On the screen, blinking faintly, were markers spread across the country and beyond. Other labs, other facilities, storage vaults, safe zones, survivor hubs, possible cure prototypes. Leo's eyes widened. You're telling me this wasn't the only one? Emily's jaw tightened. This was the beginning, but if there's even a chance, a sliver of hope, to stop this, to fix what they broke. She glanced down at Luna, running a hand over her soft fur. Then we don't stop. We fight. Leo chuckled weakly. You know, normal people would have just called it quits. We stopped being normal the moment the world ended, Emily replied, standing taller. A sudden noise in the woods made them both tense. Movement, footsteps, but not the shuffle of the undead. Voices human. 3 figures emerged from the tree line. Filthy, tired, armed, but human. Survivors. Their eyes widened when they saw Emily and Leo, but more so when they spotted Luna, alive, healthy, untouched by infection. A woman stepped forward. Is that real? She stammered. You cured her? Emily exchanged a look with Leo, then nodded slowly. Yeah, we did. The survivors stared in disbelief, then hope. Raw, unfiltered hope. Leo grinned. Well, looks like word's gonna get out. Emily adjusted her backpack, shifting Luna comfortably. Her gaze turned north, toward the distant mountains, beyond the wastelands, beyond the ruin, toward whatever came next. She whispered to herself, but also to Luna, to Leo, to the world. The cat lost 7 lives, but she still has 2 left, and so do we. The fight wasn't over, not yet. But for the first time, they weren't just surviving. They were fighting to live, fade to black. But this is just the beginning. If a single cat can survive the apocalypse, imagine what else is out there. If you want to know what happens next, click right here to watch the next story. Trust me, it's even crazier than this one. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and tell me in the comments. Would you fight the apocalypse to save your pet? I'll see you in the next nightmare.